Assalamualaikum and good greetings. So today I'll be watching another video by the wandering Quinn. This is Taking My Shahada in London! Exclamation mark. British Revert story part 2. Another exclamation mark. Right, so I have watched the part 1 where she have told her journey basically into actually deciding to become a Muslim, and this will be about the Shahada itself, I believe. Without further ado, let's watch.
Hello, salam, and thank you for clicking onto this video. So I have been a Muslim for 2 days. 2 days ago I did my Shahada, and I wanted to put this video together for you. At the end I do share a little bit of my Shahada, but basically YouTube for me has been such a source of information and inspiration and motivation, and even kind of like community as well. And I really wanted to therefore share my experience because I have watched so many Revert stories. So hopefully my experience will be able to just do the same as it has for me watching other people's videos. Now,
so who would have thought YouTube is becoming a platform that is integral for many people to come and know about Islam and eventually reverting to Islam, right? Who would have thought?
I have made another video which is about my journey to Islam. It is quite a long video, but it kind of really describes what's happened this year for me in 2020. So yes, if you want the full details, then go over and to that video. It's just the one before this. But in this video I'm just going to say about where I did my Shahada and why I did it there and why that was kind of like important to me. Now, as I started to learn more about Islam, as a very avid traveller myself, I guess I kind of thought, oh, I'd like to do my Shahada maybe in Saudi, where I definitely started to learn the most about Islam, or even in Pakistan, maybe at Faisal Mosque, which was also had like an impact on my journey, which I describe in the other video. But obviously Corona is here and we are very limited into where we can travel. However, the other thing that really kind of made me think against doing it in a different country is that I did hear a statistic about how many people had converted to Islam last year in the UK. I actually can't remember the number now, but I just remember thinking like, wow, I really want to be part of that number. Now, honestly, I don't know how it works. If you do your Shahada in another country, whether then the information does get fed back to the UK, or when you come back to the UK, you probably then have to fill in maybe some paperwork here, I would say, for it to count towards, you know, this is how many British people did their Shahada. But, you know, as a British person, as a person that's lived here for the majority of my life, I just felt very, just very connected to do it that way. And I guess also because obviously this country has a lot of Islamophobia about, I just really felt strongly that I wanted to be one of those numbers, because I obviously have learnt myself that everything that Islamophobia says and people say about it is completely wrong.
That is interesting to note that someone actually want to be part of a statistic. Because that's essentially it, right? Because I want to be part of that number, right? So, because normally people do not associate positive, I don't know, vibe towards becoming just a statistic. Well, this is not just another statistic. But another thing about that statistic, I'm not sure whether that is really from counting people officially converting, or is there any actual official process? For example, in the UK, that if someone convert from one religion to another, they actually make it official. Is it a thing that you have officially what religion you are? Because I'm not sure, maybe it's a thing, but I always thought that in the Western country that is not a thing. In Malaysia it is a thing, right? Meaning in your identity card, there's a religion stated there, right? So it is a thing. I thought it was not a thing outside there, where people free to choose and people converting it doesn't being registered in the national registrar or something, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Do let me know.
I really wanted to be in support of Islam in the UK. So I decided, okay, let's do my Shahada in London. And I decided on the London Central Mosque because I came across their website a few months ago, and pre-COVID times they were offering classes for like Islam 101, how to pray. I just thought that was really, really good. I very much respected the fact that they did these classes because, you know, from the Revert stories that I've heard, I think it's, you know, there really is a thing where people revert and then they feel like they're kind of left without a community and maybe left without information. And I just felt it was really good that the mosque offered these services. People can continue to learn in a group, in person. So yeah, I was just very, thought that was great. So I really wanted to go to a mosque that does those kind of things. And they also have a whole page on there as well about how to book an appointment for your Shahada. And obviously at the time as well, I had no idea, like a few months ago, how popular it was. But actually, I mean, having been to the mosque now and spoke to the sheikh who did my Shahada, like he does them all the time, which is so, so amazing.
So it is, that is interesting. I never pictured it that way. Like you have to book a time because people might be queuing up to take a Shahada. Interesting. I do hope that such a thing can be a reality in Malaysia. You know, that, you know, people are lining up to become Muslim.
So I had a week in London planned, which is this week, and I known for a couple of weeks that I was going to do it in this week. So I went to the mosque 2 days ago with my friend who also just reverted just a month ago. It was my first time praying in a mosque. I did definitely know that I wanted to pray in a mosque before I did my Shahada.
So I'm not sure about her friend because she didn't mention anything about her friend that is recently a revert as well in the last video, right? And she mentioned it first time here, but is there any relationship with her friend and her story and journey, or that friend become her friend after she reverted because they have similarity in terms of reverting?
I don't know why. I knew it wouldn't change my mind, but it was just something that was important to me to do. So we did that, we did the prayer. I'm really glad that I went with her. And afterwards she said to me, you know, the sheikh that did the prayer is the one that did her Shahada, and he's a really nice guy. So, you know, should we go and speak to him? So we said, okay, let's go and speak to him. And basically on our way to the office, his office, I said, okay, if he can do my Shahada today, I'm going to do it. If he can't, that's totally fair enough because it's normally appointment only. So let's just see what happens. And we got into his office and he said, yeah, I can do it for you today. Now, I know that there is like a saying in Islam that says that you shouldn't wait to do your Shahada, which I think maybe gets a little bit confused or too pressurized, maybe I should say, that's better.
Yeah, I think the essence of that saying, if you wanted to say that is saying, is that do not let the doubt delay you from making the right decision, because essentially if you die before you actually take the step, that would be the worst case scenario, right? So basically it's in the land of that, right? But if it goes towards pressuring someone to make a decision before they are sure, that's totally a different thing, I think, right? So that is not the case that we want, right? We want everyone to be clear why they actually want to become a Muslim. That is from their own conscience, and yeah, once you know that, there's no point of delaying, there's no point of letting doubt affecting your decision making, because who knows when is your time's up, in this life, right?
To new Muslims, because even in the comments on YouTube videos that I've seen, people can be very pressurizing, and I don't think they quite realize that it's such a big decision, especially if you haven't got a community around you or people around you to support you when you are making the decision, like me, very much by yourself. So I do think that there is a balance between, you know, you shouldn't wait too long if you know you want to do it, but also you really shouldn't rush into it. It's a huge decision. But for me, I took that advice as essentially, you know, I can either do my Shahada today or I can do it later in the week, as I'd kind of more planned. But then at the end of the day, what's the difference between today and 3 days' time? Let's not wait. So I very much took that advice in that situation, which I'm glad I did, rather than saying like, okay, I should have done it months ago, which definitely wasn't the right thing for me. So the sheikh, yeah, he was a really nice guy. He's from Egypt, had a bit of banter, which was always good. And the other thing also, why I did want to do my Shahada in the UK was because I really wanted to go to a mosque and be with people that fully could understand me, and you know, we could speak in English. Maybe if I had done it in Saudi Arabia, then there would have been kind of language barriers, but here in London I felt really comfortable, obviously. Now he did ask me a few questions first, which I wasn't kind of aware that they might do, but again, I really appreciated the questions, and I think it's a really great thing that they do, to ask those questions. You know, he didn't necessarily quiz me on anything, but it was just asking me, do I know the 5 pillars, asking for my story. And then one of the questions that he did ask me, which I found very interesting, was you know, I told him that I'd been to Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, and that's kind of what sparked my interest. And then he said, you know, if you go to another country which is of another religion, are you then going to think, oh no, now I'm interested in that? Now for me, I've travelled quite a lot, and I do know a lot about Buddhism and Hinduism and Sikhism and Christianity. I've been to many places of worship for all of those religions, so I knew that that wasn't a problem, and I explained that. But I thought that was a really interesting question, and even actually when I told my friend, who also knows nothing about Islam, or you know, the word Shahada is like, never heard of it before, when I told her, you know, that they ask you questions to make sure you're sure, she was also really surprised by that. And again, yeah, I guess it just really shows that it shows other people that don't know about Islam that it's not a pressurizing thing, because people do think maybe you've been pressured into this, maybe you've been like, you know, had your mind like forced into this, and that just shows that like, no. So anyway,
that is interesting insight that I never would thought of highlighting to a non-Muslim, right? Because we really want to make sure that you decide knowing what you are getting yourself into, and you know, because it is a commitment. It is indeed a commitment. So are you willing to go into this commitment, realizing what the commitment is? And because I think in that context, because when she become interested in Islam, you know, when you travel, etc., is it in the moment thing, right? Because you know, you are in the moment and you feel like, oh, this is good. Will that last? Because if that is the only reason, it might not be a sufficient reason for you to stick to the commitment for the long run, right? So just to make sure.
We filled out a little bit of paperwork on the certificate, so they have a certificate of me now being a Muslim, and I have that to keep as well, which is a really nice thing to keep, I think. And then I did my Shahada, and then afterwards we just kept talking really, and it was really nice. My friend was a witness for me. I had to have 2 extra witnesses, and then a man who had shown me the Sheikh's office earlier on after our prayer, he then sat in on it as well and was one of the witnesses, so that was really nice. And yeah, and then afterwards, actually, me and my friend then just went to Edgware Road in London, which is a really Arab part of London, and went to a Lebanese restaurant to celebrate with some good Arabic food. So it was a really nice experience, and for me, yeah, I just feel like I've had like a bit of a weight lifted off my shoulders. I guess it's been something that I've just been thinking about for a lot for the last few months, thinking about would I do it, when I do it, and then more recently it's been like, okay, I want to do it, and now it's done, and I'm a Muslim.
Dropshipping is dead. This is the biggest internet marketing lie of 2020. So hey, if you're not interested in learning about
Alhamdulillah.
So anyway, enough of me talking. Here is a little clip of me doing my Shahada. I have got my back to you, but I don't know, I kind of like how it was all filmed anyway. It just keeps it a little bit more private for me as well. But if you have liked this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe, because I am going to start making some more videos around the topic of Islam and being a Muslim and being a revert, because I love creating content. I have this YouTube platform, and YouTube has, like I said at the start, just helped me so much in my journey. So I really want to be able to give back. On that note as well, I've also started a new Instagram account. That handle is @_eQuinn, which is my name, Ellie Quinn. I have my travel Instagram account, but that's more of my business account. So this will be more of a personal one and more focused on the religion and life as a revert. So be sure to follow me on there as well. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. I bear witness that there is no God worthy to be worshipped except one God, and Muhammad is the messenger of God.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. That is interesting when the Imam or the Sheikh actually translate Allah into one God, right? But anyway, that's the story of her. Because in the previous video, it's how her journey led her to actually decide to become a Muslim. In this one, it's actually her taking the Shahada. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Hopefully, she will be having a good support system around her, because the journey, the commitment, it can be a challenge, right? And it is a daily challenge to commit to do what you should be doing as a servant of Allah, right? So yeah, anyway, that has been 2 videos by the Wandering Quinn. Thank you for watching. See you next time.